26 practical things to do in 2026 to heal your anxious attachment style and to become securely attached. Because if you're still anxious and still have the goal of becoming securely attached, then listen to this episode. Your younger self deserves this, and your future you deserves it, okay? I was anxiously attached for 30 plus years. If you don't know yet, I'm Yula. I'm an anxious attachment style coach because it changed literally my entire life. And no matter if you're in your 30s or 40s watching this, or if you are lucky enough to catch this episode when you're only in your 20s, this will change your entire life. Not just romantic relationships, but also it will change the way how you feel mental health wise, anxiety wise. It will also change your physical health as well. I had and still have migraines, so many less than I used to have. But once something turns chronic, I don't think you can really change it, but at least you can manage to live with it. And if you have anxiety struggles and you just suppress your emotions and where you just push through and you don't allow yourself to even feel the emotions, you don't manage them and you just push them on the side, and you do this for 30 years like I did, they will show up eventually in your body. May this be through migraines, how it did for me, or through bladder issues like it did for me too, or through so many other ways. It will manifest itself somehow. And if you're not at this stage yet, this is so amazing because you can still probably prevent it from happening. If you're already at this stage, then I'm very sorry, but you can still manage the symptoms and prevent more harm to be done. So anyway, it can impact also like your work and your career and your self-esteem and confidence. And life will become so much easier if you become more securely attached. Think about if you even approach Christmases and birthdays, react to the things so differently. If you have inner peace and if you have the capabilities of handling stressors in the world and ups and downs, if you're your own source of security and strength and you don't need someone else to make you feel good or make you feel loved because you are able to do this for yourself now. So I really realized around those bigger milestones when Christmas comes around or birthdays or really through huge things that really shake your world. If you are more secure and are able to soothe yourself first, it creates such a huge difference. Like I've worked with so many clients who have it literally all. They are really successful in their career. They have all the money, but it doesn't matter if you are feeling so insecure and so worthless deep inside within yourself. So anyway, let's do the work together. Let's start with practical small things you can do for yourself this year to finally become securely attached. Grab a pen and paper and jump in. And let's jump in. Disclaimer, I'm not a therapist or a doctor. This content is for informational and entertainment purposes only. It's not intended to diagnose, treat, or heal any mental health condition. If you're in an abusive relationship or dealing with severe mental health challenges, always seek professional advice. Step number 0, if you're drinking coffee within the first hour of waking up, this can trigger your anxiety levels already and spike your anxieties and stress and cortisol. You will want to switch it first for something a little bit less triggering, like black tea. I lived 9.5 years in England, in London, so where I got introduced to black tea with milk and sugar. Now I replace sugar with like a bit of sweetener, and it is so good. And you don't have to change a habit by just stopping a habit. If you are a coffee drinker, and I'm a coffee addict too, I'm literally like Rory and Lorelai, but you want to replace it with something a little bit more healthier. So if you have an anxious attachment style, your anxiety can spike up immediately in the morning, so you want to start gentler. The first hour, ideally no caffeine, but you can start first with black tea and then later switch it with herbal tea. I'm doing this in the morning as well, and first I thought I would never be able to do this because I'm a very grumpy morning person. It takes me like 2-3 hours to be functioning. But now I've shifted the last few weeks from coffee to black tea to even herbal tea the first hour. I just had to distract myself with journaling, with going for a walk and drinking something else. And then I can have my coffee later on. And to be honest, now I'm not even having it an hour after. I'm having it usually like 5-6 hours after I wake up. So it's really a game changer for me as well, because over the last weeks I've been a little bit more anxious and I didn't know why. I couldn't figure it out. And I think it's because of work stress. But I think the coffee has been a huge game changer, because I realized the morning, the first 2-3 hours in the morning was the one where my anxiety spiked up out of no reason, and that has helped me enormously. Number 1. And that is, check if you are actually really anxiously attached. Lots of people think they are, but they might have actually a disorganized attachment style, but leading more heavier into the anxious section. And that is important to know, because only when you know, hey, that is me, you can have a better roadmap for becoming securely attached, because your limiting beliefs change, your wounds change depending on your attachment style. So I have a link down in the link section in my attachment library where you can make sure, hey, that attachment style is me. So really make sure you know your attachment style. And by the way, again, we can shift into different attachment styles over time, consciously or unconsciously. So you can take the quiz anytime again, even if you've done it already a few months ago. Step number 2 is define what actually securely attached means to you. And that is something not many people doing, and also another reason why most of us don't even become securely attached in the first place. And here the goal is to be as specific as possible. Don't be vague. So what does it really mean to you by becoming securely attached in 4 months, in 6 months, by the end of this year? Maybe for you it's you are going to no longer snap at your kids or at your partner, or you'll be able to stay calm in situations that are very stressful at work, or when people look at you, or when they exclude you from parties, or when people forget your birthdays and you just feel very insecure about yourself. Maybe it's about your body image. Maybe you feel very insecure about who you are, or at parties are not really more like an introvert, not an extrovert. So you have social anxiety, and this can really help you enormously with this. Maybe you're always attracted to the emotionally unavailable person who is not a giver, who's more like a receiver, who doesn't really step it up naturally, and you are the ones that are naturally giving more and pouring more into the person, and they just take and they pull away more and more the more you're trying to lean in and they lean back. And you want to attract people who are also leaning in with you to a healthy way. So you want to attract secure, healthy love, who don't either ghost you or run away, who are emotionally available, who are having deep conversations with you, physically, emotionally, in all of the kind of levels. And you don't want to be triggered by fearing emotionally and physically they're going to pull out over time, months and years. And maybe you just want to stop worrying so much and always living in your head and missing out on the present moment. It's like when you're in a conversation with your friends or with your partner and watching TV or just having a conversation or at the dinner table, you are in your head, you're not there with them, you're actually not creating a connection, you're not living in the moment, and you're always fearing, what if they don't like you? What if they're going to leave tomorrow, in 3 weeks, in 1 year's time? What if? And this fear is so strong for you that you can't even breathe, that you can't even enjoy life, that you can't create adventures for yourself, that you're not even childlike anymore, that you're abandoning yourself so much that you don't even recognize yourself anymore, and that you reject of who you actually are. You're not even able to say what your favorite music is if you are meeting people, because you're actually rather figuring out, hey, what do you like? So you can then match their energy, match their vibe, match their favorite music. And eventually that's so exhausting for yourself, your self-esteem, and you're telling yourself you don't matter, it's not safe to be you. And for me personally, it was a few years ago, it was about 5 years ago, when I was with my partner in London. We shared a room together and we were always fighting, we were always arguing. We kind of spoke a different language. I didn't know what he was talking about. He kept saying things or like, I'm so controlling, or I'm treating him like a dog, and I had no idea what he was talking about. And only eventually, when I stumbled about attachment theory and realized he was avoidant and I was anxious, I realized that's what he was saying, like that he kind of felt trapped when I was asking for little things that were so innocent, like, putting his shoes in front of the bed so I wouldn't stumble over it. For me, it was like a very normal conversation, but for him, he felt like I was criticizing him as a character, and he always felt like he was never good enough. Whatever he was doing, I wasn't a good enough partner, and there was something wrong with him. Because of that, I was able to communicate differently with him, show it up differently for myself, and this changed everything. Find out your reason, what it means to you. By the way, the next steps will be a little bit shorter. I try to be more to the point. Number 3 is identify your most impactful areas to work on. And that links to the one before. So if you're not good with arguments or fights and you're always people pleasing, work on this section first. If it's because you're having very low self-esteem and you're always insecure about your partner talking to female friends or has female colleagues, then work on that first. Your partner does cross boundaries and is way too flirtatious, then you want to express yourself more and then actually follow up with consequences. So find out what is the area of improvement for yourself and focus on that one area. Basically, you want to set mini goals within the goal of becoming more securely attached. So then it feels a little bit more doable. Another goal could be you're always wanting to spend time with your partner 24/7. This is more like codependency. You're always wanting to spend quality time with him, but if you're always together, that's not really quality time, that's more quantity time. So you might want to realize, okay, you want to fill up your cup more, you want to find out more hobbies and realize there's also so much more out there besides your relationship, besides your partner. And the more you find out things that you like about life and things outside the relationship, the easier it will be to less focus on your partner, to decenter him more by picking up more books and start to join more communities and so on, so on. The fourth thing is I want to tell you to become, to make it very practical and becoming more securely attached is shift from focusing to your partner, having this vision, my partner, to refocus on you. That is just what we talked about. That could be a huge focus and should be one of the focuses, especially if you are like a people pleaser and if you are in the fawning survival state. Like that was me a lot. I was always focusing on my partner, and not just in the sense of I want to spend quality time with my partner, but also in a way of when is my partner coming home? What is he doing? What is he doing during the day? Messaging him. And when he's at home, like checking in, like just with my eye contact. Okay, how is his mood? What is he thinking? Wait, is he stressed? So I have to make sure he's okay, because if he's stressed, then I'm stressed. And always checking in on him, always being around him, never really planning anything for myself, always having white space in the calendar, because maybe he wants to spend time with me, right? So if you always catch yourself thinking about their mood, their stress, or their love for you, you want to pause, shift the energy to yourself, check in with you, with your needs and your hobbies and your mind first. And number 5 is have a backup plan ready for those kind of moments. So you want to have a backup plan ready, like mentally, energetically, and physically as well. So if you're only with him in your thoughts, now take out your journal and write down all the thoughts you're having about your partner, and then write down things about yourself. What is exciting about your life? What is your life going to look like? What are your dreams? Connect with yourself. What if you could create the most amazing life for yourself? What are things you want to explore? Get to know yourself more. You can do shadow work, or you could just Pinterest, there are lots of like prompts you can search as well. Get to know yourself a little bit more. And energetically, how can you redirect and create a backup plan for you energetically? That could be starting meditation or breath work, or just simple breathing exercises like box breathing, for example, or just sitting there and connecting with your body and like doing like a body scan and realizing, hey, what emotions am I feeling right now when I'm trying to shift on to my partner and trying to check in on his energetic field? What is my partner feeling? Maybe what am I feeling? Okay, how big is this emotion? Is it like tiny, like a little mouse, or is it like huge, like an elephant? Is it like moving up and down, or is it like very big and broad and heavy? Is it like it's sitting on my chest? Where is it located? Is it like in your head or in your throat, or like is it in your fist or in your heart or in your belly? Like do a little bit of a body scan and to become a researcher about your own body, about your emotions versus fixating on him energetically. And physically, you can have also a backup plan in terms of do something for you. Go for a walk, go and have a bath, or, have like a playlist ready of Taylor Swift songs or Cigarette After Sex to, I don't know, maybe something more upbeat to dance about it, like a theme playlist song that makes you feel like you're the main character in your life. Read a few books of a page, maybe have always a book ready that you like and say, okay, whenever I am shifting my energy on my partner, now I'm going to grab this book. You're removing yourself as well physically into a different room and you're reading at least 3 pages. Start small and eventually you will grow this kind of habit. And number 6 is learn to self-soothe. That is essential if you want to become securely attached, because right now you're overly relying on your partner to regulate yourself, to feel okay, to breathe. So instead of co-regulating all the time, you want to learn, I am my person and I'm okay, even if my partner is grumpy, even if he's moody, even if he's not home, even if he's outside, even if he's traveling, even if he takes 3 hours longer to reply than usual, even if the world is falling apart, I can be there for myself first. I have strategies to self-soothe and I'm going to apply them as well. That can be, for example, just breathing. Take yourself out of the situation. So if you are trying to text with your partner or the person you're dating, put your phone down. Or if you're in a conversation with him or in the room and you're triggered, go into the next room and just put one hand on your heart, because that will do so much for yourself. Feel the warmth and the connection to yourself and take a very long breath. Breathe into the nose, hold, and exhale. And you can do like box breathing, where you breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and again hold for 4 seconds. And you do this repeatedly, at least for 3 or 5 rounds, until your heart rate is like decreased a little bit, until you feel a little bit more relaxed. And I did this a few weeks ago when I actually was in a little bit of an argument with my partner. I went for a walk afterwards and I sat down and I did box breathing and I was looking at the sea, at the waves. And first I was so angry, I was so pissed off. And after processing my emotions, which is another step, and then did box breathing, I felt the most peaceful I've ever felt in a long time. But you have to actually do it, okay? And then there's lots of more self-soothing techniques you can do. One way is just to like rock. You can like side to side rock, and that literally mimics the movement you have been experiencing when you were little, when you were rocked as a baby back and forth. And that's also very powerful to soothe your nervous system. And number 7 is self-soothe through physical touch. Okay, that was actually what I talked about before. One way is, again, as I said, put a hand on your heart or put a hand on your belly as well, and just to take some really deep, long breaths. But there's also other ways how you can do this through physical touch, by like crossing your arms and really hugging yourself. And you can like squeeze yourself a little bit when you do this, or like move up and down across from your shoulder down to your elbows a little bit, and just feel the sensations. And you can do also things like very mindfully throughout the day. For example, if you rub yourself with body lotions, you just do it more gently and actually connect to your body rather than rushing and multitasking and doing this as a thing of, oh, quick. Just be present more with yourself and own it and connect to yourself. And one way to becoming more securely attached and to pour more into yourself is acts of service to yourself. Instead of, again, outsourcing the love you're looking for in your partner, if you're not a physical touch kind of girl, maybe through acts of services. It sounds very cringe, but that's the thing of, give yourself the damn flowers. Like maybe you want to nourish yourself through like a very nice meal, or you just want to prepare yourself a nice cup of tea or coffee. Maybe you want to pick up some fresh flowers again. or maybe you just want to really ensure that when you feel down, when you feel a little bit low, you're doing something for yourself that makes you feel like loved and seen. It could be also maybe you're cleaning and organizing like a drawer that's very messy. Check out your makeup drawer and remove things and clean it. That could be also something actually very healing and soothing for yourself, Treat yourself like you are a priority and that you really matter. And the next step in becoming securely attached is give yourself gifts. Again, as you notice, I'm going through all of the love languages here right now. Gifts is something that I personally don't connect that much to. That is, I think, the last thing on my list for how I feel loved. But if you are the person who really connects through meaningful gifts, give yourself a gift. That can be going through a bookshop and selecting like a personal development, a romance book, and asking them even to like gift wrap it for you. Make this special. Or instead of waiting for Christmas to come around, or ask your partner to buy this special piece of diamond or a ring for you. Do this for yourself. Don't over rely on someone else to just make you feel special, make you feel loved. You do this for yourself. And step number 10 is learn to receive love. So compliments or help from others, accept it without downplaying it. That's a huge part of becoming securely attached, because when you ask for love, you're learning to receive. Because if you have an anxious attachment style, you're a giver, right? You give and give and give to people. However, that is not just an act of being nice, that is actually a survival strategy. And if you're just giving, you attach people who only take. You don't attach people who also give. And if you want someone who doesn't take it as an advantage, if you want someone who also pours into you, guess what? You can't just reject it, you have to learn to receive it. And I know the struggle of like, it is hard to receive something, right? If you have a fear of, I just like to give and I don't want to actually receive because that feels cringe for you. You feel like you're not worthy enough to receive. That's the deepest core wound here. The thing is, it's not selfish at all, because when you give something to someone else and they reject it, how does it feel? It doesn't feel good, right? When you give someone, even if it's like a last slice of pizza, you want them to receive it, right? That's the same thing for you. Don't turn it down. Don't always give them something back 50-50, because it won't feel good for them either. So the more you learn to receive it and accept it without giving them back, the more you'll also accept their way of giving. And it's everything else but selfish. And otherwise, you're just training people for conditional love. If you ask someone to help you rearranging something in your house, you don't have to give something back, because otherwise it would be conditional love. And step number 11 in becoming securely attached is be consistent. That is one of the most important things if you want to become securely attached, because your anxious attachment comes from inconsistent care and growing up. And I always say that, and I always will say that. That's why you have to do the opposite now and be consistent for yourself. Pick up routines, non-negotiables, habits that center you. Keep them no matter if he's in the picture, no matter what happens in your life. Your brain feels safe when life is predictable. So be the predictable factor in your life. And number 12 is focus on what you can control. Not how often he texts, not what he texts, how often he reassures you, what he said, his actions, but focus on your choices and your thoughts and your feelings. No matter if the dishes are done perfectly, no matter if he forgets an appointment, it's okay. Just let them be a little bit messy and human for who they are, because you fell in love with who they are, right? You fell in love because they're different, because they're more spontaneous and you are more the planner and more the type A kind of person. Accept what you can't control and love them for their differences as well. And this lets you put energy into your own actions, like thoughts and feelings, instead of stressing over what you can't control. It is so much more peaceful putting the phone down, not worrying about when someone does something, and focusing on your day. What are you going to do? Are you going to take a walk? Are you going to plan a new project? Are you going to reach out to a friend? And then focus on your energy again. Don't fixate if they say yes or no. That's none of your business. 13. Identify your core needs versus anxious rules. So right now you might be mixing up what actually keeps you safe with what's nice to have. So think of it like you're wanting to go camping. You really need a tent to protect yourself from rain and wind. You need a fire to keep yourself warm and to heat up the food. These are all essentials for survival and for safety. However, the marshmallows, the pink colors in the tent, all of the fairy lights, and these things are just extra things. Are extras. They are nice to haves. They are luxury stuffs, and we love to go glamping, right? We want a luxury experience, but we don't want to confuse them to what we actually need to feel safe. So only insist from your partner to provide the essentials, and then you can come later on with the extras. This stops you from overreacting to tiny things, from flipping out when your partner forgets to send a text or doesn't exactly love you in your way, how you would want them to show up. If they wear flip-flops or a Hawaiian shirt on a special occasion, and you really want them to wear a specific tuxedo or a specific outfit because it fits into your plan, in your way of how it should look like. When you know the difference, you feel calmer and in more control and more secure in yourself. Your relationship will feel so different as well. You will feel secure and safe without these perfectionistic rules your anxious attachment have created to protect you, but they will create disconnection, anxiety, and keep you away from connection and fulfilling relationships. 14. Boundaries. Now, boundaries are done through actions, less through words. Babe, could you not like that picture on Instagram? Babe, how many times have I told you, please don't follow the models on Instagram? Babe, why have you liked her? Oh no. If you could just keep repeating the same thing over and over and over again, and they don't change and you don't change, nothing will ever change. Don't tell people what they must do over and over again. That usually doesn't really work. People won't follow your rules. Instead, decide what you will do if they cross your boundaries. Your actions teach more than your words could ever do. If your partner hasn't texted you in 2 or 3 days, you don't tell them in like paragraphs and paragraphs on what this means to you and why that is bad. You don't yell, you don't give lectures, you decide what you will do next instead. Maybe you go hang out with a friend. Maybe you don't make plans next time with him. Maybe you're just, move access to you. Maybe if someone ghosts you or doesn't text you 2-3 days in the dating phase, you are not going to see them again. You're not even going to communicate with them. If someone yells at you, maybe you're not going to tell them, oh, you don't want to be treated this way. Maybe you tell them once, and if they continue, you will leave the room. You limit access to you. This is much more empowering than just telling them all over again how you want to be treated. If your partner never washes his stuff in the sink and he always piles up the stuff, don't wash up his stuff anymore, and he won't have his favorite cup of teas anymore. He won't have any clean things to eat dinner from or to have his coffee. And don't do it from a way of resentment. Don't smash the plates in front of him. Simply do it in a way of, I love you, but no more. But, I won't be able to wash up your dishes anymore if you just pile them up on top of each other because I don't have time for this. Number 15 is you want to reassure yourself first. So you can't outsource your safety. Deep down, you are the one who needs to feel safe first. Reassure yourself before expecting anyone else to do this for you, because this shows your brain safety comes from you and not from your partner, not from your friends, not even from your parents anymore. It comes from you first. This will then reduce your anxiety and it will increase your resilience on your partner for comfort. Number 16 is stop bullying yourself, okay? Challenge your negative self-talk. You can't feel emotionally safe if you're your own biggest bully. Being mean to yourself makes the anxiety worse. So replace I'm not good enough to either a neutral or a positive affirmation. Because we have I think 60,000 thoughts a day. I think there was a new study saying just 6,000 thoughts a day. However, we have thousands and thousands of thoughts a day, and 95% of them are repetitive and about 80% of them are negative. So you want to challenge these negative, repetitive thoughts daily. You want to become your own best friend. If you can't give yourself positivity, start neutral first. But don't hate on yourself. The world already is doing that. 17 is remove your triggers around you, especially at the beginning of your healing journey. And over time, you build more resilience to handle them and to show up differently for them. Like avoid people, even media that trigger insecurity. And for example, I don't watch any news. You're already introduced to so much news every day, if you want to or not. Don't consume so much BS content that spike your dopamine, in a negative way on social media, through shorts, through reels, add friends and even through books and podcasts who are really filling your cup and not trigger you worse. Focus on friendships that are really adding to your life, that make you feel good, not where you always compare yourself in a negative way. People who really mean well for you, that are supporting you in your goals and journey, and where you don't always question yourself and have to be fake around. 18. Envision your secure self every morning. So pick up 3 identity shifts. 3 things you want to let go of and 3 things you want to step into. So maybe you want to go from anxious to calm, or from insecure to your most confident version of yourself, or from people pleaser to being really assertive and standing up for yourself and saying things out loud you would never have done before. Or from always saying yes to everything to thinking does this really benefit me, or from thinking everyone's above you to thinking, okay, you are now on one level. Then link these character traits to a role model, to a character, because the more you envision those kind of people linked to your most secure version of yourself, the more and faster you can become that version. And then you can embody her more, step into that version of yourself every morning, every day when you wake up. You envision it, you put a hand on your heart and you envision being her, being the merged character, being confident, being assertive, being your most calm, confident person you can be. Number 19, name your emotions out loud. It's a very practical approach and you can apply this right away. So instead of saying though, I am anxious, I have an anxious attachment style, this is who I am, say I feel anxious. And then go even further to saying, a part of me feels anxious, because there's lots of many parts within yourself. There's a secure version already within you. There's a confident version already within inside of you. You are not just anxious, but right now the anxious part is very loud, and it gives your brain a pause, and instead of spiraling, you can observe what's actually happening, and you give other parts also room to exist at the same time. And over time, this trains your nervous system to not overreact every time you feel fear or insecurity. It calms that loud voice and gives room for all the pieces to be there at the same time. And it helps you stop blaming your partner or the situation. And you start seeing this is an old wound, it's popping up, but it's not a current disaster. And 20 is do a body scan. We did this a little bit before. So where's my anxiety right now? Is it in my chest, my throat, in my hands, in my legs? Is it like a wave, or is it like a tiny little sensation? Is it like a butterfly in my stomach? Is it like a big black hole? What color would it be if I could give it one? Is it a red, like a hot color, a warmer one, an orange, a yellow, a brown? Is it like a blue? Is it cold? Is it like huge, gigantic, or is it very tiny? If I could give it like a score from 1 to 10, where would it be on the scale? And this helps you to refocus inwards and away from your partner. And it realizes, hey, you know what? It's about my sensations, and anxiety is right now very loud, but it's actually about my sensations, and it's and I can allow myself to just feel it. And in fact is, if you allow yourself to, to feel the emotions and to be with it and do this body scan and welcome the emotion in it only takes about 90 seconds till 5 minutes to fully process an emotion. However, the moment you reject the emotion and push it away and say, oh, anxiety is bad, anger is bad, then it will take over and eventually will turn maybe into a panic attack, or you snap at your partner and then it takes over you. So you want to ground your body, go from your head into your body. And we are nearly at the end. These are the last few things I recommend you do in 2026 to become securely attached is pause before reacting. 21 is pause before reacting. So before you do anything, let's say double texting, really over-explaining what you mean, asking for reassurance, asking validation, checking in on your partner repeatedly, you want to just pause and breathe in. Take 3 deep breaths in. And then you want to just expand your window of pausing and taking action gradually. We're going to start with 10 seconds, breathe through it. Later maybe it's 1 minute, and then later it's 5 minutes. And you can still take the action. You can still tell yourself, I can ask for reassurance, I can send a text, I can call my partner, but a little bit later. Because if you tell yourself, I'm not allowed to do this, I can't text my partner, you want this even more. So the trick is by, pushing out the window a little bit more, you're creating self-trust within yourself. You're proving to yourself that I can feel the emotion. I am my source of safety, and this is everything. Number 22 is identify your real fears. What is underneath everything? So you might think that the threat is your partner leaving, or your partner cheating on you, partner abandoning you, or something bad to happen in future. But that's usually never the real fear behind everything. I figured out after working with so many of my clients and going really deep on my own journey that the deepest fear, even if you have an abandonment fear, is not the fear of what if they will leave, what if I can't trust them, what if they will break my heart, what if, I'm going to be alone, is actually what if I can't handle it. So it's the wound of I'm not capable of. And you can change this. That's the amazing news is you want to just, find proof of that you've been capable all along. You've been, you can journal out phrases and experiences where you have been in similar experiences before, where you have been capable of doing hard things before. You've survived it and you maybe even thrived in some experiences, and you can do it again. And the thing is, often what we imagine things to be are much worse in our head than in real life. And now you're much more wiser and smarter than you have been 3 years ago, 10 years ago. So now there's even more proof that you can handle it. And the more you can rewire your beliefs of that you can handle it from you can't, the more you will prove to yourself as well through rewiring your beliefs and taking gradual action steps of I can do this. And number 23 is you want to recognize your triggers are from your past. It's much less about the present, much less about your partner or about your colleague or whatever you think it is about. Your partner is actually not the problem. However, they trigger your old wounds from your past, from your parents, from early experiences when maybe your dad was unavailable. And that's why you are now triggered when your partner is unavailable as well, when they don't really prioritize you, when maybe they don't text you back immediately, or when someone ghosts you when you're dating and someone isn't committing fast enough to you. This is more a wound from your dad when he was emotionally unavailable, maybe even physically unavailable when he have been traveling and you are actually craving his attention and not your partner's right now. Again, they're just stabbing in this wound consistently. This will help you create a deeper connection to your partner and able to recognize, hey, it's not about him, it's about my past. And I'm only attracting this kind of pattern and behavior and people into my life over and over again. Now I can heal this part about myself, my old wound, speak up in my current relationships, and then attract different kind of person. However, by already healing this pattern within yourself, it can create a huge ripple effect in your current relationship as well, unless they're extremely emotionally unavailable. 24 is prioritize you. I want you to plan your week. Protect your space and time first before you think about what does my partner want to do? Let me check in on him. Sometimes even say no to your partner when he asks you to do something. And that might be the hardest thing you would have ever done, because you would rather, of course, cancel your own plans rather than doing something with your partner. But it's essential to reject your partner as well. Even in small moments of choosing yourself builds self-esteem, and your partner will want you even more when you're able to reject him in smaller ways. So put maybe the phone down on silent, or when you're doing washing up, or when you're in the middle of reading a book and your partner asks you something or texts you, don't immediately pause everything. Don't put the shopping bags down just because someone messaged you or your partner messaged you. This can wait, even if it's just 10 minutes. And number 25 is learn to sit in discomfort. A huge thing if you want to heal your anxious attachment style. In a world where comfort is just one click away, think Amazon deliveries, scrolling through TikTok, watching Netflix, online food deliveries, everything we get instantly, immediately, and we have not been even trained anymore to just sit in the emotions, in the uncomfortable emotions. We've gotten so used to fixing everything uncomfortable right away. But your growth happens when you sit in the emotions, in the discomfort, instead of running away from them. So when you want your partner to text you back immediately, call you immediately, reassure you, make you feel better, make everything go away, don't rush again to act. Don't double text, don't over talk, don't test them, don't fill the silences. Just sit with the wave of the emotion, feel the anxiety, name the fear, and wait. This is powerful because it trains your nervous system to know this is uncomfortable, but I'm okay. This is not dangerous. I'm safe. I'm still worthy of love. This feeling comes and goes away as well. It's intense, but I can handle it. I can manage it. You will feel so much more empowered afterwards. You can handle the emotion, and that's a huge way of building a secure attachment style. And the last one is talk to your younger self. So think back for the first time when you had an anxious attachment style. Maybe when it was created, a memory when you were crying in your room and you felt ignored, or when you felt scared or anxious. Maybe you were 7-year-old or even 5-year-old when you felt very invalidated, or you're always trying to predict what your parents are going to do next, or you didn't feel good enough, or you feel rejected. Think about that version of yourself. If you have a picture, put it on the mirror or on the back of your phone and talk to her. Talk to her every day, especially when you're triggered, especially when you're alone, or even when you just want to accomplish your goals. Tell her that everything's going to be okay. Give her reassurance. What would you tell her? How would you make her feel safe and seen? What is the most important message you want to give her? This helps to retrain your brain to feel safe and worthy without needing someone else to prove it. When you remember that little you stop reaching for constant reassurance in men, and you teach yourself that you are enough on your own. Because I'm sure you're not going to tell that little girl, that little version of yourself, that she needs a boy to feel okay, right? And that's it. That's a wrap. Let me know what helped you the most out of all of these practical, smaller things in becoming securely attached. Which one you're going to try this year. And if you want my support, reach out via email or even hop on a free call with me to do coaching, either via WhatsApp or one-on-one coaching calls. I am wishing you the most secure, calm, loving, empowered year where you stop proving yourself that you are good enough or other people, where you stop shrinking yourself, where you don't dim your light, but where you shine the brightest, where you put yourself first, and where you invest into yourself, into your life, and into your hobbies, and fill your cup and feel regulated because you deserve it. So remember, your future you deserves it, your little you deserves it, and your current you deserves it. But remember, change in your relationship starts with you, thought by thought, action by action, and episode by episode. Lots of love, Yula. Bye bye.